Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. So today what we're going to be discussing, and I have it already in the background here, is a new Skypad that I really wanted to review for you guys. The reason I want to review this mouse pad, no, this is not a sponsored post or anything. I just thought it was really cool, and we talked about it on the live stream, and I got it pretty much this Monday, and now I really wanted to put together a video talking about it and some of the pros and cons, what I thought, and give my impressions, because what's really unique about the Surface is that it's tempered glass, which is very different. I have reviewed tons and tons of mouse pads on this channel. You probably have seen the 12 mouse pads I reviewed all together. They're all cloth mouse pads. I do have one hard surface, and the reason I've always strayed away from hard surface mouse pads is because the aluminum can tend to showcase some residue, as well as other pads where there's different parts of the surface that give way, and there's always a really smooth spot that always appears on these mouse pads. What's really interesting about the Skypad specifically is that when you're utilizing it, it is tempered glass, so you're not running into the issue of it potentially wearing down, which is probably the thing that has intrigued me most, is about the consistency of the surface. Now, let's talk about what was in the box. It was very straightforward what was in the box. It came packaged from Denmark, which I believe is where their shipping area is. I got it here in the United States, where I live in Knoxville currently, and it shipped relatively quickly. It came through DHL, which is pretty solid. Nothing was wrong with it. The box was really well put together. I liked how we opened it, and it looked like it was really secured and what it was in there. And there's really not much else to talk about. The edges are really smooth on the pad itself. Whenever you put your hand down, it actually has a nice cool touch. So if you prefer more of a warm touch, then this may not be the mouse pad for you. It also, the other interesting thing about the pad itself as well, is that when you use an arm sleeve, it actually provides even smoother dexterity whenever you're flicking and moving around. Right now I don't have it on, but I prefer actually to have an arm sleeve on, specifically whenever I am gaming. Now, the biggest thing that I noticed right off the rip is that my fear consistently whenever I was flicking around that I was going to mess up my mouse pad or my mouse or something. I just had this inherent fear that I was going to overflick, or something just wasn't going to, like I was going to mess it up, like the mouse feet underneath were going to deteriorate and fall off. Now, that has been my experience with old hard surface mouse pads, where my mouse feet did deteriorate over time. But the thing is that, well, I mean, you can just buy a new set of PTFE feet, and currently have CorePad installed underneath these. And then the other ones that I have set up are also Tiger Ice, which are under the G304, which I did a review on as well. I'm not sure which one I'm going to post before the other. Now, the other interesting thing about this pad that I will highlight as a con is the surface. If it's not perfectly clean, even if you feel like a hair, you do feel it whenever you're moving. If there is something on the surface itself, you will feel this graininess because it is a smooth surface, which is a bad thing, specifically if you're gaming. So if you have a lot of cats, you have a lot of pets, and you do not clean the surface, I recommend having a microfiber cloth just to make sure before you game that you wipe this down. I noticed over my extended period of time, it does leave a lot of fingerprint marks on the pad itself, and I believe I'll highlight that in some of the background footage as well. That was also a con. And I don't really see any other things unless you do not like a really smooth surface. This is probably the fastest pad I have ever used. When I say fast, I mean something that was built for speed, which is probably the most interesting part of using this mouse pad, and it has given me a whole new perspective versus using cloth. I've used cloth mouse pads for the past, give or take, I don't know, 7 years, 8 years, and it's been forever since I pretty much said get away from hard surface. I think this is kind of a game changer. One of the first hard surfaces that I've seen that has as much consistency as it does. This is again, you know, I don't mean to gloat about this pad. I mean, but I guess another con would be its price. It is very expensive, but the plus side is, even using an artisan, sometimes the pads only last from between 9 months to a year until you start to notice you can clean them, but you also still notice that the structure does continue to change and it starts to feel a little different. I hope this, and I'll update the comment section, but from what I've heard from other reviews and what I'm experiencing after gaming on it really hard, is that the surface does not change. It's very easy to clean. You know, you just wipe it off on the microfiber cloth and just kind of maintain it. But that's important to do. Like if you eat near this and you have a crumb on there, you're going to feel it. If you have hair that falls out, you're going to feel it. If you have pets that come around this, you're going to feel it. I think I left some of the markings there just so you can see it. Like even the hair here, if I roll over it, you might be able to feel it. It's more or less whenever it's cat hair or your own personal hair, but if it's a super thin one, you won't really notice that much. Now, also, whenever you're using mice feet, initially, whenever you're rolling around, it takes like, I want to say about 30 minutes until you break the mice feet in. And there we go. I can feel it now, that little hair. It's really small and I moved it over, but you can feel it. And that's kind of the annoying part of using a hard surface, is that you do feel everything. So you need to be mindful of your surface and what's on it. So I hope this is a pretty in-depth review. Hopefully this helps you guys out, whether you want to purchase this or not. It's expensive, but it could be worth it if you're looking for a hard surface that's long-lasting. And I think this is probably the best hard surface that I have ever utilized. I mean, I guess ever. And it really helps with micro precision. I think the downside that I'm experiencing is my major flicks moving left and right. It's also loud, so if you are in an enclosed space, know that this surface is much louder than it's going to be for your cloth pad. So that's something also to consider if you live with others. I mean, it's not massively loud, but if you're clanking and lifting and moving your mouse, rest assured they're going to hear it, and it's most likely going to annoy them because you're constantly lifting your mouse and flicking around. So noise is also an added factor versus a cloth pad, depending on how much you click. I think another downside, last one I'll leave a note on this, is that if you click too hard, because it is a very fast mouse pad with very little grip to it, and there is grip, and don't let it confuse you. But the biggest thing is that if you click really hard, then you're going to notice that the mouse can kind of jiggle just a little bit. Also, if it's really bright in the room, then it can reflect, which is not the end of the world. I haven't even really experienced that because I don't play in like the brightest room, but I do notice, you probably noticed it a bit in the recording because I have lights pointed at this. Now again, I'm not going to be able to give you the perfect exact coefficients and how the glide is. I'm just giving you from a user's perspective of somebody who's using a lot of mouse pads and finally finding a hard surface that's actually really nice and one that I can actually utilize and wouldn't mind even playing on it for an extended period of time. So thank you guys again so much for watching. Hope this was helpful. Don't forget to leave a like to show your support, and I'll see you guys all in the next video. Bye, everybody. Impressions. I'm just here with Eddie. I'm just recording raw impressions using the Skypad before I do the review.
Wow!
Oh my god. It's really fast. You know what's weird? I just feel like I'm gonna break the mouse, like I'm gonna hurt the mouse or something. Because I'm so used to having like a cushioned feel, you know? Super trippy. That's something I kind of have to break mold of instead of like, I don't know, panicking like, oh my god, I'm gonna mess up the mice feet. Just like weird. It's such a weird sensation, dude. I'm not gonna lie, that's really odd. I don't know if I'll put this in the review or not, but you know, hey, it's literally my first time like touching the mouse pad and getting raw thoughts. I just kind of feel like I'm gonna, I don't know, that literally the only thing I can say is just messing up the mouse. I've used a hard surface. I actually, you know, it's funny, Battlefield 2042 is coming out. The last time I used a hard surface was Battlefield 4. I used one of my Onyx's old mouse pads, a hard surface, and I did run into the issue where the mice feet did mess up over time. So that did happen. But then again, I think that was after like a year and a half or two. And it took a while for that to happen.
Aren't mouse pads like really expensive though? Like the really good ones?
This one was like, I guess it came in at $100 and it was $130 total for shipping, which isn't bad. Oh, I guess technically artisan pads are like $60 to $80 depending on like the size you get. And I'm using extra large. So technically, yes. But if this is like as long lasting as they say, the next time I need to buy a mouse pad of this caliber that's equal of this, 2 or 3 years down the line, maybe 4, you know? Versus the mouse pads, because I noticed all my mouse pads have wear and tear, you know?
Yeah.
Like just naturally. But like, what if you could have and like the other hard surface I used that was my Onyx, surface.
Oh god, I have not heard that name in a while.
I know, right? Because that was the last time I used a hard surface. Like, it's been that long. I don't know anybody who's made a good hard surface. And like, the problem is that their surfaces wear down quickly, but this is tempered glass, so it makes it really interesting, you know?
Yeah.
For shipping overseas, you know, the tempered glass, nothing's wrong with it. It was packed pretty well. You know, not too bad. I think I just have to get over the stigma that my mouse is going to mess up by flicking it around or something, you know? It's louder. That's for sure. Alright, I'm gonna stop recording. It's just some raw impressions.